everybody, I'm Kimberly Turner from cookingwithkimberly.com, and today I'm going to show you how to cook Napa Jack's deep fried citrus herb pork ribs. Now I know that's a whole lot that I just blew your mind with, right? They're going to be that good. Now this you could do for, say, St. Patrick's Day. Irish particularly like to deep fry things, anything. Mars bars and the like, even deep fried, are beautiful. So this is what we're going to do, and I've got 2 kilograms of pork side ribs, and they are raring to go. On my stovetop, I have a large pot of water that's nearly coming to a boil. I want to season this water. Now, it's important for you to tenderize this meat before you kind of try and grill it, or you want to maybe glaze it, oven bake it. This is how my mom does it. Not everybody does it this way. Some people just put it directly into the oven and do it that way. Some people put it on the grill. However, this way ensures you have nice tender ribs that are falling off the bone. The key is to have hot water, because you don't want to leach the flavor out like when you do a soup or a stock. You want to kind of seal the flavors in as well, but I want that to boil. So let's get this water seasoned. I'm going to do citrus herb, so I'm going to just kind of season the water in a nice foundation. I've got a bay leaf. I have 1 large clove. That's a trick that my mom and my grandmother used to use, and we still do. I'm using a half of a lemon. That's going in. That's going to give a little bit more citrusy flavor as well. I'm going to add some mustard seeds, maybe a half a teaspoon. Some chili flakes, maybe the same. Now this liquid that you're boiling the ribs in, you can also use for a flavorful soup or stew this week, which we will be doing as well. Let's put some peppercorns in there, maybe 8, 10 or so. I have some of our own dried sage leaves, and those are going in. And I have a couple clementine leaves. Now you can cook with clementine leaves and get some flavor just like you would lime or lemon leaves. Okay, so in that goes as well. There's our citrus and herb. I'm also using a fantastic spice rub today from Napa Jack's. This is their citrus herb rub, and we're not going to use this until right before we're going to deep fry. Okay, so we're going to make a nice batter, and we're going to season our ribs up with this fantastic spice rub, and this is from Wine Country Kitchens. You can check them out online at winecountrykitchens.com. Make sure you check out my review on this as well. And their whole line of spice rubs is phenomenal. They all have different flavors, and they are used really easily with a lot of different things and really kick up your cooking a heck of a lot. So let's get these ribs in. The water is nearly boiling, and that's perfect. You will maybe find that your ribs are a little bit too large or long to fit in the largest pot you have. So cut them accordingly if you have to. If not, just leave them kind of full. Before we deep fry, we're going to cut them into chunks anyway, so it wouldn't be terrible to have to do it right now as well. So I'm just going to actually wrap these guys up. It's easier to keep them all together. They maintain their integrity just a little bit better. So I would usually let these go for about an hour, but today we are going to be handling them a little bit more than we would at the end. So I'm going to go probably 45 minutes and check them. I don't want the bone to just fall right out of the meat, and that's sometimes what happens, and that's okay because they're very tender and tasty that way. However, we're going to try and keep them together and see how this goes. So let's check them in about 45 minutes. We're going to bring this water up to a boil and then turn it down to a simmer. They don't have to sit there and boil furiously the whole time. And in fact, that will help kind of jiggle them apart, and you don't want that either. So turn it down to a simmer and just let them kind of simmer in there, okay? All right, these guys have been going for about 50 minutes, 50. I'm going to take them out now and put them on a baking sheet so I can cool them off a little bit to touch, because I'm going to have to manipulate them. You don't want to burn yourself. Also, you don't want it to go too far and make them fall off the bone. So let's get them out of here. They smell amazing. They are cooked through. They are very tender already. And now we're just gonna let them sit to the side while we make a beautiful batter. Now I'm gonna make a beer batter, and we're gonna make it something similar to maybe like a fish batter, okay? That's what we're looking for, that kind of consistency. So let's get that going. Also, I'm going to get a large pot prepared on my stove top, same kind of pot as this, with about 3 inches of oil. And I'm going to start heating that on a nice low heat to get that oil up to heat without having to do it on high, okay? You don't want to do that. So let's get those things all started. All right, we've let these guys cool, and what's good about that too is that it helps you keep things together a little better too. So this is what we have. They're already cooked, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna separate them into groups of 2. So cut right between that meat gently, just so it's like, you know, manageable to grab, so with the tongs and things like that. Okay? No big deal if you have an odd one out. But don't pull them apart, just cut them. All right, so now I've broken them into chunks, so, you know, manageable pieces that you can handle. And what I'm going to do is I want to dredge them in some flour, okay? I'm gonna just straight flour. You can season it if you want to, but it's not really necessary because we're gonna really season the batter that we're gonna make for this. So let's go ahead and just dredge these guys. Be gentle with them because you don't want them to fall apart, and they're gonna be handled just a little bit more. So shake off any excess. This just kind of helps the batter adhere just a little bit better to this meat. Now my oil has been heating and it's nearly there. You want to make sure you're testing your oil to make sure it's hot enough. You don't want that batter just soaking in that oil. It has to be the right temperature, but you don't necessarily need a thermometer either. I'll show you what you need to do. You're going to splash a drop of water into the pot. You're going to stand back while you do it. And if it sizzles, then the oil is hot enough. If it doesn't sizzle, keep on heating that oil until it gets to temperature. So when you're throwing these guys in the fryer, you're not even worried that they're gonna get cooked or not. You just wanna make sure that the batter on the outside is cooked because these guys are already done. So it'll be really quickly at this point. All right, let's get this batter made. Let's get this batter made. We need to sift some ingredients together, and we're going to use a half a cup of all-purpose flour. I'm using another half a cup of breadcrumbs, but they're going to go in after, and I'm using panko crumbs. And you can use regular breadcrumbs, whatever kind of breadcrumbs you like, or none at all. In fact, you could use just a cup of flour, or you could use no flour and use a whole cup of breadcrumbs. So between the two, you need a cup, okay? So let's sift the flour. So it's a teaspoon of baking powder and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. I'm using a tablespoon of paprika, not hot paprika, just a plain paprika, and 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper. I'm just gonna throw that in because it's a little bit of a more coarser grind. And we're gonna just sift these guys. It'll make sure you have no clumps, and it'll also kind of evenly combine things a little better for you. The batter will also be a little bit lighter and fluffier. Okay, we're gonna add the panko crumbs, half a cup. They have a coarse kind of feel, and it's gonna add a nice crunch to our batter. So I'm gonna eyeball about a teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons of our citrus herb rub. And we're just gonna stir that together to make sure that it's evenly combined. Oh, it smells fantastic. I've just made a well in the bottom, and I'm going to add an egg and just kind of whisk it in the center. Whisk that up a little bit. Stir the crumb mixture and the flour and the spices kind of with it. And now we're gonna add some beer. And we're gonna add enough beer until you hit the consistency of batter that you're looking for. I want a nice thick batter, so I'm going to probably add a little less than some people out there. So tonight I'm using a Waterloo dark beer. This is from a kind of a local beer to where I'm located, and they're a Waterloo Brewing Company. You can look that up if you like. And we're just gonna start off by eyeballing, and we're gonna just stir that in a little bit more. Now, depending on how thick you want your batter for, whether you're using it for fish or something like I'm using it for, I'm just gonna have to eyeball. I would reckon, I think I used maybe about a cup. So here's the consistency I have tonight, kind of a thicker batter. You want to use this kind of batter relatively quickly because it does have the baking powder and the baking soda in there, and you can see it kind of activating. I can see bubbles, and the beer kind of helps activate it as well. So you don't want it to lose its froth, okay? So use that, just mix it up right before you're about to deep fry things. Make sure your oil is nice and hot before you start trying to mix this up as well, okay? So make sure you test your oil and make sure it's hot before you try and start battering these. And I think we're ready to go. All right, my oil is ready to go. So now that these pork ribs have been dredged in flour, I'm going to just drop them into the batter. So now that these pork ribs have been dredged in the flour, now the batter will stick to it much easier. So we're gonna do them, you don't wanna overcrowd your pot. So I'm probably only gonna be able to fit 3 in at a time, I would say. So here we go, let's start. Coat them up, make sure you shake off any excess batter before you try and drop it into that hot oil. All right, and when you drop it away from yourself. So that's only gonna take a couple minutes, just enough time to brown up. I'm going to line another baking sheet with some clean, dry paper towels. They will soak up any excess grease that we don't need when you take them out of the pot. So make sure you have either a spider or a nice slotted spoon or some tongs to get out of here. Oh, it looks awesome. Let me show you the first one. It looks like fried chicken, but it's fried ribs. Look at that. Oh, they're gonna be fantastic. So just rinse and repeat that with all of your dredged rib chunks, and you'll see me when I'm through. The kitchen smells phenomenal. You can smell herbs and citrus and beer. It's amazing. Make sure you're heating your oven on a low heat to keep all of your ribs nice and warm until they're all done frying up. You may have to clean your oil in between your batches, just of the little extra crunchy bits. You don't want them to burn in that oil, and it will make things bitter. All right, these turned out phenomenal. If you've ever had chicken fried steak, then this is kind of similar to that, I guess, in rib form. Now, oh, they look so good. They're crispy and crunchy. That batter just did its trick. The panko crumbs in there are gonna be nice and crunchy too. Look at that. Oh, don't they look amazing? Now, I'm gonna put them on a platter and we're gonna serve these guys up. Here you go, guys. Now, these are your beautiful Napa Jack's citrus herb beer batter deep fried pork side ribs. Say that 10 times fast. Look at these guys. They are amazing. They look so beautiful. What bunch of tailgaters wouldn't want some of these? Just saying. All right, let's try one of these bad boys. I'm really excited about this. These look amazing. All right, ready? Crispy, you can hear it. Oh, come on, are you serious? Those are the best ribs I've ever had. Hands down, I don't need any sauce or anything, but you could serve these with barbecue sauce or boss sauce or hot sauce, whatever. The outside is crispy, crunchy. It is savory. It is so delicious. Oh, it's crispy and light. Oh, that's good. The ribs on the inside are tender, and that's why we boiled them first before we did anything. This is phenomenal. Oh my goodness. You will fall in love with these ribs, I'm telling you. You may never cook ribs a different way again. Wow. That's off the Richter scale. You have got to give this recipe a try. In all honesty, this may be the best thing I've ever made in my life. It is so delicious. It's everything you want it to be. It's meaty pork. It's juicy. It's tender. It is savory. It is crunchy on the outside. Deep fried. I mean, how can you go wrong? Pop open a brew and you're good to go. You guys are set up for the whole football game with these guys. And they're filling too. So beautiful. And they're easy to just grab and go. They're kind of like how you grab fried chicken. It's awesome. You got to try them. Make sure you check out winecountrykitchens.com because this spice rub made this all possible. The flavor is unbelievable. You see, we only just boiled them in flavored water with some spices and things. And this is what really flavored the batter and gave us the flavor that you're just looking for. You could serve this with wedges of lemon, which is probably what I'm going to do. You can cut that little bit of fattiness with the lemon, and it goes perfectly well with the citrus. You can do this too. This is amazing. You're gonna love this, all right? Make sure you try out this recipe for how to cook Napa Jack's deep fried citrus herb pork side ribs. Gonna love them. Follow me on Twitter at Cooking with Kim E with a capital E. Like the fan page at facebook.com/cookingwithkimberly. My shows are on ifood.tv/cookingwithkimberly, youtube.com/cookingwithkimberly. You can find my channel on Roku, Cooking with Kimberly, and I'm also syndicated on Apple TV. Come to my website at cookingwithkimberly.com and subscribe. Interact with us and let us know what's going on in your culinary world, all right? Be a champion in your kitchen and eat deliciously. Bye.